Madam President, I will be speaking on some issues related to the spending bill to some things which have happened in Louisiana. Louisiana had 2 catastrophic floods in 2016, affecting not just our state, but also Louisiana and Texas, with over 100,000 disaster victims who became eligible for SBA, or Small Business Administration, disaster assistance loans. Here's one picture. Oh my gosh, look at, here's the window. The water is as high inside the patio area as outside, and the woman has got a face of despair. And here's another picture which kind of just shows a family being evacuated in a boat, and obviously a neighborhood with stop signs and nice trees and street lights, and they're being evacuated. You can imagine what their family looked like. Their family home looked like. 56 of Louisiana's 64 parishes had federal disaster declarations. The August storm alone caused an estimated $10 billion in damage to private property, which, apart from hurricanes, made it the most expensive U.S. disaster in the last 100 years. The most devastating thing was how little time people had to react. The storm was missing key cyclone characteristics, so the National Hurricane Center had no expectation of how devastating the storm would be. And the first parishes hit by the flooding had no time to evacuate or prepare. Many families that were impacted by the great floods of 2016 in Louisiana lived outside what are called special hazard zones and were not required and did not carry flood insurance. Indeed, about 80% of flooded homes did not have flood insurance. Last year, I worked with the Louisiana delegation to obtain about $2 billion in community development block grants to help cover portions of those uninsured losses for Louisiana families and small businesses. We also got about $500 million in disaster tax relief to help with the uncompensated disaster losses. But with CDBG, or Community Development Block Grant funding, which is distributed through the Restore Louisiana Homeowner Assistance Program, there's something which is an arcane and arbitrary rule called duplication of benefits. Now, the duplication of benefits rule states that if an individual is eligible and/or received a loan from the Small Business Administration, that individual is ineligible for a grant from the Restore Louisiana Assistance Program. The rule makes no sense. An individual who did the right thing, drew upon all available resources to rebuild their home and put their life back together, they are denied relief. Language to fix this issue was included in the disaster supplemental passed by the House last year. The Senate was prepared to consider this in December, but the legislation was delayed, frankly held hostage by the minority party, using it to gain leverage to get more government spending as part of the budget negotiations we are now in. Now that this disaster supplemental has been rolled into the budget negotiations, we saw that the provision to fix the duplication of benefits rules was added, but only covered Texas, Florida, and Puerto Rico. So I worked with my fellow Louisiana senator, Senator Kennedy, and members of the Appropriation Committee to make sure that Louisiana is treated the same as Texas and other states. Now, this provision applies to individuals who are eligible to receive an SBA loan but did not take a loan. What does that mean? What's the scope to this? According to the SBA, 100,000 homeowners were eligible to apply for an SBA loan from the March and August 2016 floods. 38,000 applications were received, 18,000 were approved. So as I am told, if you're eligible, but even don't take out the loan, you don't qualify for the Restore Louisiana grant. Again, if you're eligible, I'm told, if you were eligible but did not take the loan, then from the SBA, you're not eligible then to receive the Restore Louisiana grant because of the duplication of benefits rule. So there's roughly 82,000 homeowners who could potentially be eligible to receive relief from repealing or altering this duplication of benefits rule. Now, there's some confusion in my state. I want to be clear. This does apply to the $2 billion CDBG grants that the Louisiana delegation secured to help families recover from the 2016 floods in Louisiana. Senator Kennedy and I also helped secure additional Army Corps resources to fully fund the Comeet River diversion, a diversion that takes floodwaters from the Comeet River into the Mississippi and would have helped prevent many homes from being flooded, probably the homes that these folks are being evacuated from in the Great Flood of 2016. We also secured $12 billion in mitigation grants specifically for Louisiana and about 5 other states, which is much more targeted for disaster states than the House bill. Again, the Senate bills more dollars for same number of dollars, but for fewer states, therefore more targeted than in the House bill. So the disaster relief portion of this legislation has taken some steps in the right direction. However, we still need additional clarification around duplication of benefits issues and legacy FEMA appeals matters. I thank my Senate colleague from Louisiana for his work on this. Hope to receive further commitments from the Appropriations Committee to continue to work on these important disaster recovery issues. Madam President, I yield the floor and note the absence of a quorum.